How you guys doing? One of the sketchier excursions I've been on. It was sunny. Now it's dark. I'm under a wonderful exposure of basalt here. You know, Western Mass has some of the most interesting geology in New England. And probably going to keep this brief just because it's already poured on me once today and it's thundering and dark and gloomy. I don't want to chance fate. We'll see if we can even get this in the video. Here in front of us might not look like much at first, but there's actually a collection of intensely fascinating ferns here. Two close relatives and then one taxonomic weirdo. Taxonomic and location wise it's a weirdo. So we'll start with the most common of the cluster here. This is Asplenium trichomanes. This is the Maidenhair Spleenwort. And if we can perchance find some sori, some of the spores, there you go, you'll see this very, very telltale Asplenium, the little lines there. It's really hard to see because the lighting, I assure you, will be awful for this entire video. I apologize. I'm on the phone, so at least the shaking shouldn't be so bad. So Asplenium trichomanes is two subspecies of this. One likes calcareous, that is a high pH rock, which is in fact what this is, which despite being the unusual rock type for New England, is actually allows for the more common subspecies of these to occur. There's one that prefers acidic rock that I've seen out near the seacoast. This is, kind of a fern you can find around the world, temperate areas, but always fascinating, always growing as a lithophyte. New England doesn't really have, any epiphytes except for, quote, accidental epiphytes, but we do have lithophytes, and they are typically intensely fascinating. I have to relocate where I saw that other fern. It's another Asplenium, and it's a little guy. It's a very small one. Now here's one kind of, here's a good example of him right here. So here's one. So here's Asplenium trichomanes, and then you could miss them unless you knew exactly what you were looking for. Also not the ideal time of year to be looking for them. This is Asplenium ruta-muraria. This is the Wall-rue, and unlike Asplenium trichomanes making these nice, maidenhair-like rachis, making this nice maidenhair rachis, this guy only gets a handful of leaflets on him. I think this is the one I found sori on. Flip this guy over. They're going to be really hard to see. You can just barely make those out in this lighting. Look up at the top, the leaflet on the top there. You can see those two lines. Those are the sori. Those are how they're reproducing. So this Asplenium here is pretty freaking rare for New England. I believe, sorry, I'm looking to my left. We're going to patrol down to the left here too while we're here. But I believe this is native other locations in the world. And unlike Asplenium trichomanes here, which does well, colonizes, it prefers, again, two different subspecies. It can stretch itself out. There's a number of subspecies of this plant around the world. Ruta-muraria here really only likes, they say limestone, but this is trap rock. This is basalt. So I think it said, some people say just limestone, some people say limestone and trap rock. I think we can assume that this little guy does in fact like trap rock. We're underneath a massive ledge here. Really almost impossible to get to location. I almost died trying to find this thing, but that's what I do. So a couple more individuals there not looking as good coming out of Asplenium trichomanes. And I'm going to show you this other cool fern. We're probably going to make this a very quick one. Maybe even a sub 10-minute video, but whatever. We'll see what we can do here. Show you some, I really would like to show you some of the other co-occurring species, but I have a feeling it's about to start dumping on me, and I'm relatively sheltered for the time being. But it's not pleasant getting down from here. I digress. So Asplenium ruta-muraria, Asplenium trichomanes. There's like 6 Asplenium species in New England. 3 of them I've seen. Platyneuron, trichomanes, and then rhizophyllum, all intensely fascinating in their morphology, in their growth habit, in their habitat. I believe all of them are lithophytes, typically of more calcareous rocks, but there's exceptions to that, as I have explained already. And that makes number 4. So Asplenium montana, and this is I believe a northern trending or a western trending species. 2 of them are western trending that just barely make it into northern New England, and then one of them that I'm thinking of the 3 that I hadn't seen, well now 2 I haven't seen, one of them is a southern trending species that you can find in Connecticut. I think that it's Asplenium montana is that's the southern trending one. That's the Appalachian affinity species, which you can see down in Connecticut and becomes much more rare. I think it just barely creeps into the southernmost point of Vermont, but I digress. We'll get to those when we get to them. Let's appreciate the 2 Asplenium that we're looking at today, and let's see the 1 or 2 other things that are, interesting to see while we're here. And this sad looking thing here is another interesting cliff-dwelling fern, not related to the Aspleniums, but in its own intensely fascinating subfamily, Chilanthoideae. So this is in Pteridaceae with the P, and the vast majority of these ferns, these chilanthoids, did a video about this in the fall too, or it's in a video about cryptogams that I made in the fall, is that, oh my god, I'm losing my train of thought. It's been a long day already. These are mostly desert and xeric adapted ferns in this particular subfamily. So this is Pellaea atropurpurea, which is the purple-stemmed cliffbrake. Really hard to tell now. The thing actually, I think, mostly weathers away for the winter, but it'll be coming back out from that little nub there at the base. So dormant now, I believe it will put out a new flush as soon as it's, ready to do its thing for the summer. But I don't think that they're technically supposed to be active right now. Obviously, it's not going to have the story on it. It's pretty deteriorated. But if it did, I'll have to find like a picture or something. They curl up underneath the lips, something called a false indusium, which you can see. It's kind of doing it now, but those spores would have been, long dispersed quite a while ago. Big mosquito on me. There's supposed to be a woodsia here, an interesting woodsia that I'm going to try to find, but if I can't, I'm not going to sweat it too bad. Pellaea atropurpurea. I'll put up the other video I did from actually not too far away from here that you can see that in, and we'll see if we can find this this woodsia that's supposed to grow here. Gotta love your local lithophytes. Love your local lithophytes. They're doing the job that no one else wants to. Do you see anybody else moving in here? No, it's all Asplenium with a handful of these Pellaeas and a woodsia, if I can find it. There's this thing too, but this just looks like a Dryopterus. Maybe not. I've seen woodsia before, and this doesn't really ring any bells. This kind of just looks like a Dryopterus that's opportunistically, a little bit of soil crept in here. Not a true, maybe an opportunistic lithophyte, but we'll figure it out. I'll even try to figure out what this is. Could just be some sort of Dryopterus. It might be kind of hard to tell. Some people can tell just from the fronds. I need the sorry. Some of the Dryopterus, the intermediate wood fern, marginal wood fern, you can usually tell really easily based on the story, but I'm not seeing any present. But we'll get to the bottom of it, trust me. All right, well, things got a little lightningy and sketchy for my taste, so I'm gonna hang out in the car. Probably gonna retire for the day. Actually, I wanted to go to one more spot after this one. I think the weather's only going to deteriorate as the day goes on. I'm not gonna, I don't mind the rain, but it's hard to film when it's this dark, and thunder is a whole different thing. So 3 intensely interesting ferns. If you don't think so, I don't really know how to help you, but trust me, intensely interesting ferns. That woodsia wouldn't be out. I had to look it up. You wouldn't be seeing that right now. Doesn't does not have any persistent leaves over the winter like those other species. Even the Pellaea atropurpurea, purple stem cliffbrake, even that was a lucky find. Theoretically, that would be much more abundant there in the summer and in the fall. It doesn't generally hang on to its leaves, but it can, every once in a while, just because it feels like it. Anyway, we're gonna sign off here. There was some interesting stuff I wanted to look at around the corner, but I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I can get it just from the window, just for documentation purposes. Take it easy. Real quick, because we're by the side of the road, on the other side of the escarpment there, apparently there's a native population of Cornus, Florida here, and the family Cornaceae, obviously. But I never thought of this thing as native to New England, but apparently on some of these like western low elevation counties, especially down in Connecticut, you do get sporadic patches of it. This is a good one. This is one you see often in cultivation, but I really never thought these were native to New England. Apparently it's native to almost every county, at least in some capacity, to Massachusetts, but it, more often than not, is a cultivation escape. All right, I'm parked on the side of the road here. I gotta get going, but it's an interesting little addendum to the video there. Obviously gonna have your opposite leaves. The flowers aren't actually open yet. These large bracts that you see merely give the illusion of a much larger flower. The individual flowers are down there in the center and are in fact very small. So technically it's not blooming, but the showy aspect of it is already out. Cornus, Florida, everybody. Never really figured I'd shoehorn this one into a video.